So preheat your mold, 15 minutes at 275. So I'm going to try out the chopstick technique that one of my subscribers suggested. Thank you for the suggestion. It actually works really well. I am using metal chopsticks, and I did find using the backside as pressure really well. I'm also using a silicone oven mitt to put it on the counter, and it has a good grip underneath so that it sticks really well. So I'm just putting on some of the liquid polymer on my pretty little mandala mold that I love so much. I'm choosing the teal and the garnet. So here we go. Just give it a good bit of pressure, and it does hold it nicely down. I'm just trying to work the garnet into the center of the mandala first before I push the teal in around it. And I'm just going to continue to work in what I have on my scraper tool and fill it up a little bit more. Now I have tried using the mold without preheating it. You can, but you don't get that nice sheen on it, which to me is sort of really nice under the resin, so I will continue just to heat it up. And that does work for all sculpey molds as well. So any of those polymer molds that you can buy for different shapes, so for like little teardrops and things like that, if you do preheat them, it gives you a shiny finish as well. And that's even just for regular polymer when you squish it in there. If you can get the shape close before, push it in after you've preheated it and bake it, you can get some pretty nice results. I'm trying to really get this as thin as possible, this run. Least amount of peeling possible. And I'm going to do this as a full tutorial, so unlike my previous one where I did it sort of a two-part, I am finishing it with a beautiful soap dish at the end that comes out. So I'm just really scraping in there as thin as I possibly can get it. Really making sure there's no little missing spots, because it's the worst when you pull out a beautiful mandala and there's just a tiny little spot missing. So it's worth taking your extra time and making sure every little crevice is full. I'm sorry for the super awkward angle. The Ninja XL cooker is wonderful, but it takes up so much counter space when it's down and hot. And my counters are not that deep, so bear with me. So now baking 275 for 15 minutes. And of course, I'm impatient, but you could definitely wait a few minutes and let it cool down. It does cool down pretty quickly, but as you can see, I can't wait. But by the time it actually does peel off, like the portion, the mandala itself is already cool to the touch at this point. It comes pretty quickly. And you see that beautiful shine? Just a little overhang. But really clean otherwise. Look how beautiful that comes out. They're so pretty inside resin. The little ones I always seem to get out with all the little overhang. I can't seem to get them totally clear, but they're not too bad for cleanup. So this is my new soap dish mold. It's larger than my last one and it is square. Well, it's actually a little larger than I had anticipated, but I love these molds in general, the soap dishes. They make beautiful gifts. So shiny side down, because that's what you're going to want as the visible portion. I tried to center up the lines the best I could. And I'm trying out a different resin than I've used before. This is supposed to be a harder surface one. It's a 2-to-1 ratio by Alumilite. And it's for like deeper pouring. I've always had issues with the one I've used where it, in the sunlight and stuff, it gets a little bit flexible. So I was sort of excited to give this one a try. It's supposed to have a much slower hardening time as well. It is more expensive, obviously, as well. Make sure to really scrape as you measure. So there was the 2-part, the A one, and this is the B, and this is just the 1 ratio. And these are by volume, not by weight, which is a important distinction. And this one you're supposed to mix for 5 minutes. The one I normally use is 4. So definitely set your timer. It is important. And try not to stir vigorously, but consistently. It does make a difference. So now we're all mixed up. I can see some air bubbles, but it's not terrible. And just give it a good straight pour. Now I notice that the polymer doesn't actually float up like the other resin, so I guess the density of it is different, which is great, the viscosity. Scrape all that goodness out. So So I'm going to use a lighter to pop the little air bubbles. Just so you know, I did do this over several hours. I kept checking back every couple hours, and there was a few more little air bubbles that just seemed to emerge, and you can continue to pop them. Unlike the other resin that sort of hardens in the first 2-3 hours and there's nothing you can do with the air bubbles, this one you can keep working. At least it was about 12 hours where I went back and checked and I was able to pop them. I'm using my daughter too to also get some of the little bits as well. Because of the way the mandala is, there's the little holes are actually creating little air bubbles. So I'm just trying to bring those to the surface and then eliminate them. Again, this is my first time using this type of resin, so bear with me. But it seems to pour really clear, and nothing is shifting, which is a nice improvement. So it did take 4 days to harden enough that I could demold it. Sorry for the awkward lighting. It's been very dark up here. So yes, look at that beautiful shine. Crystal clear. Really almost no air bubbles. There isn't a lot of sanding or finishing that I need to do. It's settled really nice. Overall, I'm really impressed with this product. You just really need somewhere to let it rest for 4 days with nobody touching it or breathing on it. Hope you enjoyed.